Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
The friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality. Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us. It feels like it's been a while. We've been here and there, but I feel like we're coming back to the show finally, and we're glad to have you here tonight. Tonight we have our special guest, Jason Strutz, who will be talking about his new project, Return, and we will get right into that shortly after this commercial break. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. I'm joined here with my partner, of course, Mog Park, and we're excited to finally feel like we're really back in the show. Thanks to Stevie B, Kenneth Bird. Nice to see you guys in the chat there. Same with Erwin Papa. But yeah, so. And it's the holiday season, and this is where we kind of like to take it kind of easy, but we've got work to do, and we're going to be celebrating the holidays in a big way for ourselves this year too. So we're looking all forward to that, and hope you guys are too. Tonight's special guest is Jason Strutz, and we're going to bring him here very shortly. I just want to remind you guys a few things. Don't forget to hit that follow button, help us increase our followers here. Without you guys here, we wouldn't be able to bring you the wonderful content that we do have, like Nick Brucci's the original art show every Friday is at 7 p.m. And then also this coming Tuesday, our producer Kyle Northup will be having a special live sale to benefit Monarch Comics. If you have don't know about them, they're going through some hardships, but this is to help kick off their GoFundMe, which they could really use. So if you have time, please check out that show and that special episode. And if you can help out, that would be great. There's going to be some great items there put up for sale, and you're probably going to be able to get them really cheap. So check that out. All right, so let's bring on Jason.
Yay.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
you might
Jason.
remember me from such podcasts as a month ago, talking with Henri.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, Henri, then you probably know a bunch of guys here at the Experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you referred to us by Kyle.
Yeah. So I work with Kyle.
That. You have a project called Return. Now, is this your first Kickstarter project that you're putting out there?
So it will be my first Kickstarter that I'm running on my own.
Okay.
And the way it's working right now is I'm doing a webcomic release. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, started back in October. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 pages a week. And at the end of part 1, which would be at page 43, then I'll go into Kickstarter mode for a month and get a Kickstarter and a small, very limited print run of part 1. Through Kickstarter, and then start the webcomic back up in April.
Okay.
So you can find that at returnedcomic.com.
There you go. Okay. And we'll get back to that in a moment. I just want to bring out our other artist that we have here, who's been with us, and we're always happy to have him, Mr. Fish Lee.
Hello.
Fish Comics. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah, it's good to be back here finally and see everybody too. So, what are you going to be drawing tonight?
Based on Jason's suggestion, as we were talking before the show, I'm going to be doing Bebop from the Ninja Turtles.
There you go. And what's your starting bid going to be?
75.
75 on Bebop from Turtles. And
what's Bebop? Is he a villain?
Yeah, he's the warthog mutant dude. It's always Bebop and Rocksteady together. And yeah.
I'm working on a sketch cover with the 4 turtles and Rocksteady, and I really
was
wanted
just
to
too
put
good.
Bebop on there, but six is too many.
Too good a synchronicity to pass up there. I had to do it.
And what's your starting bid going to be, Jason?
Starting bid's at 50. But,
okay, there you go.
See that?
He's making it easy for you guys. Based on that little sketch he's got there, this looks like that's going to be something terrific.
Yeah,
Marty's doing
Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl. Sorry. No. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the starting bid on that?
There's a background and everything, so it's gonna be colored.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do 100 on that one.
Yeah, I think that's.
What size is that? Is that 11 by 17?
This is actually 8.5 by 11.
Okay, 8.5 by 11. All right, yeah. All right, so you're getting backgrounds on there. Starting at 100 for that. Jason's got his 4 turtles and Bebop going at 50, and Mr. Fish. Okay, which one were you doing again? Fish?
I've got Bebop. He's got Rocksteady.
Okay, Rocksteady. Okay, 4 turtles and Rocksteady starting at 50, and Mr. Fish has got Bebop starting at
75. For 11 by 17.
So we got 50, 75, and 100. Hey, Stevie B, glad to see you out there. He's already got the # EXP return, right? So we've got some really good giveaways that Jason will be putting up 3 of them. So you have 3 chances to get those giveaways tonight. And they qualify. Just put in # EXP return, just like Stevie did. Okay. And Short Circuit, whoever that is. Don't know. We'll see.
That's me.
All right, so she blew it. She just blew her cover. Okay. All right, so Jason, how did you get started into art and comics?
So art has been forever, and comics. I started working on those about 2008, 2009. I moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I was moving around a bunch, following my wife for school and jobs, and ended up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and started up a art group to meet at a local coffee shop. And I met a guy, Jeremy Whitley, there, and he wanted to write comics, so we started working on stuff together. So we had a series called the Order of Dagonet. We were self-publishing at first, and then picked up a little short run publisher. But we somewhat concluded that. But that was kind of my first foray into comics. It was a very at the time, naive and dumb way to make comics, which was a lot of colored pencils and airbrushes and
oh my mercy,
insanity. Yeah. I jumped way in the deep end, and probably bit off a lot.
But you're professionally trained.
Sure.
Right.
I went to a school for illustration at RIT in Rochester, New York, which was art school with a little bit of business school. The hope was that you could make some amount of money when you exited art school.
Well, that's one thing that that I've talked about, like college, right? Is that they teach you your skills, but they don't. In something like this, you really do need the business end of it to understand. Or else you go out there cold and you're trying to figure out, well, okay, I got the skills here. Now what do I do? Or how do I go about really getting into this business, right? So did that business end help you at all?
I think that business end did help. So it was structured as kind of very very assignment based thing. So you would be doing illustrations to briefs. So it wasn't just like paint what you like or paint what you want to do. It was with the idea that this is going to be for a purpose.
Okay. So did you do a lot of turtles in class?
Not a lot of turtles in class. They didn't have a lot of comic stuff there. And I didn't really know anybody to work with on that. But yeah, the business stuff I think was definitely important because we talked about contracts and pricing and going through rights and things like that. So I think that was useful.
Right. Yeah.
Just in general to start thinking about it at very least.
Yeah, because I know when I got into this, right, that was one of the hardest things for me to try and understand is contracts and the rights. I kind of grasped pretty easy, but the contracts, I'm not sure like what you could do, what exactly that meant, what kind of tool it was. I'm much more familiar with all that now. I'm not really
I think
too scared
like
of it.
That stuff can be to some extent more important than the work in some ways.
Right.
And that when I left college, I wasn't necessarily ready to be totally professional artist person. It still takes time after that. Like there are people who maybe are young and can get right into it, but the likelihood that you are ready at age 24 to jump straight in to professional illustration is fairly low. It's still going to be a lot of work from that point of practice and getting better and all that. So my current thinking is that like that stuff will come if you are sitting down and doing the work. But the business stuff, those are things you can learn and should learn. And things that I probably need to get better at too.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot to learn about the business than just the business that you need to know about.
Correct.
You need to know about how the industry operates. You need to build your relationships.
And that's always changing.
Figure out how to get into into where you want, whether it's a big publisher, mainstream publisher, or a small publisher. It's all going to take time. It's not something that you can just break easily.
I graduated in 2004, and there are plenty of things that did not exist at that time.
Oh my goodness!
So long time ago.
Hey,
like I've been in this business since like the 80s.
Yeah, awesome.
And
yeah,
that's big. Yeah. There's a lot of big changes from there, and a lot of things we didn't have.
You know what I regret is, speaking of business, they should have they only did the business for me at the last semester of my graduation. They saved it for last. But I believe that from the very beginning, first year, they should teach business. Like half the course business. Especially, but then all my other friends that ended up working in the art career very fast is because they streamlined their portfolio for studios. So they went into studios, but for anyone like freelance illustrating, which is very similar to comic book artists anyway, I think that is such a valuable. It should be a business requirement. There should be like a mandatory 2 years at least business requirement, because it just went over my head.
Yeah, because I mean that's the stuff you have to learn, and that's the stuff that will keep you afloat as you get better.
Yeah, and let's be honest here, like business, our brain is not meant that way. And it's like if I had an instructor who is like as ruthless, no, that's not a right word, pragmatic as Mel here, and then they literally hold your hand throughout the entire course, like, here, this is how you do it, this is how you set up a con, we're all gonna do it together, like because the thing about business is similar to art, in my opinion. Like you can't learn it just by hearing it. You have to apply it, because every business model is not is going to be different. You have to find your own business model too. It's just so hard. I don't know. It makes me even wonder if it's even worth taking business class, because I learned business through Mel, just going through the whole rigmarole of actually doing it.
I think, like you were saying, if you walked through actually doing something, or at least like mock doing something, I think it would be a lot bigger help. Like Mike Watson at Freestyle Comics really impressed me because he gets interns from the art school in Columbus there in Ohio.
Oh,
And at first I was just thinking, oh, it's, free labor. He
yeah.
teaches these guys everything. He has them sit in on all the business meetings. They sat in on our meeting when we were discussing my contract. And then at the end of it, like, he does a little review over everything that we talked about, why we did it. Do they have any questions? Do they have any questions for me? Like, by the time you get done interning for him, you know how to put out a comic of your own because
Okay.
you've walked through the process.
That I agree with that. It's not a
That's
class,
awesome.
but it has
Yeah.
to be an intern. It actually has to be an internship. Yeah. Then
Those
yes.
are hard to find. There's not a lot of those available. There's a lot of people that are helpful in this industry, but to actually take the time to intern people, show them the business, that's a rarity.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and
That you don't
I
see.
mean, for the people to be able to take on an internship, you got to be able to support yourself in some way.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you got to
exactly.
be able to afford to do an internship for free, which is a
Yeah,
whole other problem.
that's difficult as well.
It's
So
that's going to add a lot of stress up. But kudos to the guys that can do that, because it's definitely helpful, especially for the industry where you don't really. It's all a lot of it is just freelance, so there's really no one there to guide you unless you go hunting for it. Even for me, when I was starting up as a retailer, having a brick and mortar and all that. I had a background in accounting, I had a background in inventory, and I had some sales and marketing. So I had a little bit of an edge, but it was still, there was still so much to learn about how to run a business, other than just opening up a shop and selling, comic books and what have you. There is so much more to that. That you have to learn and figure out.
You just open the door and cash the check, right? I thought
It
that was
would be
all it
nice
was
if it
to
was
it.
that simple, but
like
it's not.
it's like what isn't that cheesy saying? Isn't the teenage that there's a saying, more than meets the eye? It's
Mhm.
literally that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because then I get all philosophical about this. Because you know how they say you're not gonna succeed unless you follow your heart. And clearly our heart is like aligned for art. Business is a completely different thing. We just don't want it. If
Oh
we had a
man.
choice, we would not want to do it. We'd just rather give it to somebody who wants to do it. And because they want to do it, they're going to excel at it. And they'll be naturally good at it too, because it's kind of like talent versus passion and experience all combined. That's for us is the art. So I get philosophical about this, where should we force ourselves to master something we absolutely just despise or afraid of?
Yeah.
Or something? I don't know.
And I don't think you need to master it so much as have an awareness and an ability to deal with some of that, and then hopefully have the resources to really ask someone who knows, like a lawyer, when you get to the level or get to the point where you need someone to really make sure you're protecting yourself.
Right.
You can swim along pretty decently without like a mastery of business. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have a mastery of business.
Yeah, we can't master everything. There's just no way. Okay,
yeah, it can be good enough, good for what you need to know.
That's the thing, man. I wish I could master advertising and marketing and sales and logistics and all that stuff, but I can't do all of that and make books at the same time. I gotta pick a lane.
Yeah,
even
just trying to do the minimum things that you need to do in all of those, right? It's still annoying, right? I got to do the books, right? And I've been doing like books, accounting stuff. God, it's like 40 years now, and I still, as a business, like for myself, I still don't like doing it. Because it's so tedious, time consuming. And then you got to do all the taxes that goes along with all that and everything. And God, it's just a lot to deal with that takes up quite a bit of time.
No, absolutely. And again, you're not looking for mastery. I don't know if everybody masters this stuff, especially marketing, Mr. Fish.
In an ever-changing social media landscape.
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
I'm not sure if marketing people know how marketing works.
No.
Yeah.
Because it's changing all the time and it's
constantly. It's
not
as
out there.
Marketing before we had like the internet was a whole lot easier for me.
There might have been a time this made sense.
Yeah. It was easy. We knew what to do, and it was pretty clear cut. Now it's just confusing. To try and figure out like what's going to work and what's going to be best. But let's get back to comics and art.
Yes.
Where it's more fun.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about that stuff, man? It's a Christmas season. I want to feel good.
I know, we're talking about I know. Business.
All right, so let's go around the room and just take a quick look at what everybody has so far on their artboard. And here we have Jason. He's got that pretty laid out right there already. That's looking nice.
Yeah, so I did this.
Wow.
Took a picture on my iPad and figured out what I'm doing.
Wow.
There you go.
And now I got to redraw it on the cover because I can't light box through that. So this is what we got.
There you go.
But I got a plan. It's nice because this specific sketch cover has a lot of like reference points of like, oh, that's close to that part, and
that's nice.
Good work.
That's a nice little caveat to work with there. I like that.
Now that's a master. That's a master. Old school, legit master, using studies and references of his own.
Yeah, it's just like most things, just drawing it over and over again.
Yep. And that's what
the second time.
Okay. All right, let's look at Mog's piece here. She's the only one not working on a turtle.
Yeah.
And this is Batgirl.
Yes, Batgirl.
Looks like she's hugging. She looks like she's high up on a building trying to hang on tight.
Yeah. She's high on the thing.
All right, so one of the rare pieces you don't see Mog do on here, and she's got a background on there. And she is looking for 100 on that. Okay. And now Mr. Fish.
I'm not sure how much you can see, but that's the blue pencil for you. But got big giant Bebop on there, eyes, glasses, nose, bandolero, grenades.
He's right there in
turtle
your face.
Shells, the whole 9 yards. Mixing all my favorite Bebops together, along with actual real pictures of warthogs, because got to look at real reference. So
there you go.
I'm actually curious, Fish, because this is just the short time I've seen you draw here, and the theme that you kind of have is like spontaneity and speed, and I'm wondering, do you do something like Jason, where you do a preliminary extensive study, or at least a good study, and then go for it? I mean, proportion.
I had no idea what I was doing before backstage. We were literally talking backstage, figuring out, and he once Jason said what he was doing, I was like, oh, okay, I'll do Bebop, sure. And then I had to Google, make sure which one Bebop was, because my OCD was like, nah, you're wrong. That's not the right one.
Yeah, so Jason had that already worked up before he got on the show. And Fish is just doing it on the spot.
I am much more
when we got started.
Seat of your pants. Luckily, I have really big pants, so it helps.
That's so strange, because in my head, like if you're OCD, you kind of like have a set kind of way, and you plan everything ahead, you know, like beginning, middle to end. I mean, I think that's just stereotyping, actually. Never mind.
Well, like it's all different, and there's so many different types. Mine argues with me more than anything, though. Though my beloved daughter at lunch today, my son and my daughter-in-law went with me to the doctor earlier today because turns out by the time I got out of the doctor, I couldn't see anymore. So I was glad they were there to drive. But we stopped for lunch, and one of my little OCD traits is any little piece of trash I have, like a straw wrapper, I have to tie into a neat little knot. And in my brain, it's no longer trash. It's in this like in-between realm between trash and not trash, because I folded it up neatly into a little boomerang. They're all over the house. You can find them everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a granola bar or a giant 50-pound dog food bag. I tie it into a knot. And then my daughter-in-law, she was cleaning up the table for the waitress and putting all the plates together. She grabbed them up and wadded them up with some napkins and threw them in the plate. And I had to try really hard not to freak out that she just took my not trash and wadded it up and threw it away with the trash. Even though it makes no sense in the world, because it's just my own little crazy OCD thing that my brain does. Wow. But one time driving home, I had a melted chocolate bar I stopped for, and I was afraid the wrapper was going to make a mess in the seat before I got home to throw it away. Yeah. And so I tied it in a knot so everything was on the inside. And that was all it took to build a lifetime compulsion. And I've been doing it ever since.
Oh my God.
I kind of have a similar thing, like when we go out and we eat sushi, or anytime that, you know, we get handed chopsticks, and they're always like wrapped up in paper, you know, kind of like a straw, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll open it and I'll pull the straw out, right? And I take that wrapper and I fold it into this, like, it's like a stand that you can use to rest your chopsticks on. Yeah. And I don't really use it, but I just do it. You know, my chopsticks end up being on the plate, and that thing just sits there on its own. You know, it's my little OCD thing too, that where I just do something like that. You know, all right, so we got 7:29 right now. Okay. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
FOC, a comic industry term for the final day a new comic can be ordered by a local comic shop. So, what does that mean to you? Well, it's your last chance to order a new comic book from your local comic shop. Order up! The FOC show will go over every book that's about to be cut off every Friday afternoon.
I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to,
so that you can put in an order at your LCS for as many copies or as many variant covers as you want.
Sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders.
Never miss out on a popular comic again. Order up, part of the experience.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on Sketch Up this Thursday evening. We've got Jason Strutz here, and he's starting up his new series, Returned. So let's talk about that, Jason.
Yeah.
What exactly is this about?
So Returned is as I've been saying, a medieval horror family drama.
Oh, okay.
But Vale, the main character, she's fighting an army of the dead with some fellow soldiers, warriors at the beginning of the book. And unfortunately is dead herself by about page 13. But there's a lot more book. So she spends some time as a bad zombie lady until her family finds her, ties her to a chair, and helps her ghost re-inhabit her zombie body. So it's a graphic novel, first one that I've written and drawn some, just jumped into the writing thing. So the whole thing's written, 4-part graphic novel. So there'll be throughout the project, four Kickstarters for each part, and then a big Kickstarter for a nice book at the end. It's been releasing Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 page each of those days, so 2 pages a week. And we're up to about page 22, 23 today, something like that.
How much is for each part? How many pages will it be?
Around 40, 42, 43.
Okay.
This first part's 43, so it's going to be about 155 some pages.
And what's your price point for that?
Right now, the webcomic is free for everyone to read. And with the Kickstarters, especially for each individual part, basically I'm just looking to get printed copies to the people that would like to have them. So it's going to be very, very exclusive. I don't want any floppy comics floating around my house. I don't want any boxes of part 3 and have no part 1 to sell and all that. So the Kickstarters are to get people some nice printed parts who would like to collect it that way.
Okay.
And I got to get pricing for that, but I also know that I should not be pricing any sort of printed paper materials until at least February at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
See what happens with pricing. So can't say at the moment what it's going to cost, other than right now it's free.
Oh wow! Okay, you heard that, guys. That's something we don't usually hear about a comic book. All right, so jump on that if you can. Sounds like a pretty neat mashup, medieval horror, supernatural.
I can show you some pages here too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
Looking down. So it's I'm using ink wash and white paint.
Oh,
wow.
That's my kind of jam right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That looks good as it is.
This is a book of all the
Are
inks.
you going to color this?
It is also being colored. Yeah.
Okay,
so I color it as well.
It looks good as it is.
You color it yourself?
I am coloring it myself.
Oh my God.
In some ways that this gives me something I can do sitting at this table where I'm working today. And then the coloring is stuff that I can do. I do that digitally, so I put that on my iPad or my computer here. But especially the iPad, I can take that around and be working on different aspects of the book in different ways. So like I go to an art group every Monday at a bar here and take my iPad and color pages, or take my daughter to
right about that, Kyle. That line work is incredible. The shading there too. That's why I'm saying that. I think it's as good as it is.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I can just enjoy it just black and white. To be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll do a special black and white.
Yeah, I would love the black and white version.
Oh yeah. But I've always loved black and white comics. That's my jam.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. I like black and white. Fell in love with it when I started picking up Savage Sword of Conan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on the first page of part 2 now. So I'm through all the inks of part 1. So I'm fairly happy with my lead time. So I think it should be pretty good to keep going.
Jason, Kyle is asking, How many people have seen the printed return stuff?
There's really no printed stuff yet. And I try not to look at numbers for how many people have seen it on the web, because nothing's going to make me happy, I guess. There's no number that'll be like, oh, yes, that's good. So I try to stay away from that.
Drive you insane after a while.
Yeah. It's and as we're talking about marketing, I do what I feel I can, and that's all I can do.
Well, showing that artwork spurred Stevie B to go ahead and place a bid on your sketch cover there, Jason. So you've got the first opening bid of 50.
So
Stevie,
worth it.
is a great supporter of our show, so thanks again for that.
Yeah, he's
Stevie.
the best.
I love Stevie.
But wow, that was some incredible pages.
Yeah.
And to see that you have it like well organized there was really
because I got to have it next to me so I can refer to what people look like. And
that's the thing I miss about working traditionally. I used to pin all the pages up around the wall around me as I was working, so I could just look up and glance and see what I did on page 2 and 10, and I miss that.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
This stuff is a hybrid workflow in that I do all the layouts. I did all the layouts on my computer, Clip Studio. So I then print those out and tape them to a big piece of watercolor paper, and then
really?
That's how I'm making the art from there. So the layouts are a little cartoony in places, and then I take that and add a little bit more to it. And I love working with stuff. I love working with ink and paper. I find I concentrate a lot better with it than doing all digital.
Do you use that expensive paper like the Archie's hot press 100% cotton?
Absolutely not. I'm working on a 155-page graphic novel. I use Canson XL. It's bad, but it's good enough.
Okay. Yeah, I know Excel. It's actually pretty good. It's decent.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear, because I try to tell people out there, you don't need the best that's out there to do this stuff. Okay.
Actually, you do. They do make a difference. I
okay, but if you're still learning, right? Because there's a lot more to learn than just having the good
That's
stuff.
the thing. Like, if you're learning, you don't need $1 million to learn.
No.
Like, if you've got the money to be able to afford a really nice tablet or pens or paper or whatever, absolutely do it. Do the best you can afford to do, but don't put yourself in debt thinking that's going to make you a better artist.
Right. That's the point that I'm trying to make, because these young guys that are coming up, say, well, they want to find out, like, what are you using? Okay. And that's great. Okay. But understand there's a lot more. There's still other things that you need to learn besides having the best pens, the best paints, the best paper. Right? What's that saying that goes, you got to know how to use the tool before you use it. And, if you don't know how to use it yet, then why spend all that money? Especially if you're not sure if you're even going to stick with it. Right. And that's one of the things that I actually like, though, is because I'll go on like Facebook Marketplace and I'm looking around. Okay, who's getting rid of art supplies because now they decided that they don't want it. They don't want it anymore. And you can get some good stuff that way at a better price, and they're brand new because they thought they were going to use it and they didn't.
I think then in that case I would be in the middle. You have to hone your skill, but I rarely get asked any questions about what kind of paint to use, what kind of paper you use. And now if I get asked that question, if ever, I get so excited because I can nerd out. Everyone is just doing digital, so no one ever asked those questions. Yeah, they could care less.
I don't know. I don't want to point you out, Mog, but every time you talk to a lot of the other artists, right, especially if they're traditional artists, you are talking about supplies and what you use a lot.
Yeah, but that's me initiating the conversation. If I never initiated they'll never say anything.
And talking with other artists that are likely to geek out over the same things.
Yeah, exactly. Before, I think Jason will understand because we both graduated the same year. We would probably ask those questions a lot. What kind of tools? What kind of blah blah? What kind of techniques? But now it's not even that. It's just straight up.
Well, now I get like what
digital.
program do you use?
Yes, it's a program.
And that's kind of the magic, or what at least people feel the magic is of like, oh, what's the program you use?
Yeah.
I have people asking me a lot recently, what tablet am I using to draw on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that really doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, I tell them what one I'm using, and sometimes I'll even give a link if I can. But I'm like, that's not going to make you a better artist. If anything, it shows you can use the cheapest one that I could find, and it still does a good job.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I think, and this is what I've said, like if you understand what you're using and how it works, right? There's a way that you can use that still, right? If you understand what the characteristics of the paint, the brush, or the pen, and it can give you that kind of effect, right? Then that'll be good to use. Because I've seen guys that'll do something with crayons, and it looks really, really great, right? And they're using the roughness of it, how it has that waxy kind of like texture to it, but it creates the effect that they're looking for.
Yeah, like more of the effect I get with my drawings on digital now is because I mess with the settings of how the pen works and how the tablet's registering the pen than it is what tablet I'm using or what brush I'm using. It's the fact that I go in and customize it to get the effects that I want with the way I draw. And that has a much bigger impact than what particular brush I'm using.
This is a mechanical pencil. Everyone will tell you don't draw with mechanical pencils.
I love them.
Just doesn't matter. Just don't press super hard. I did want to go back to the question about the printed stuff. I do have, as Kyle mentioned, because he has this in the comments. This is a Ashcan edition of Chapter 1 that I've been putting on my table. It's all lettered, able to be read, all the black and white stuff. And
I would want that.
Yeah, that's what I want.
One of the things we're giving away today.
Oh
boy!
Make sure Short Circuit wins.
Yeah, we're not going to disqualify it this time. If Short Circuit wins.
Short Circuit has to win. Yeah.
That allowed?
I don't know about that.
As long as nobody tells JD in the background, we'll be fine.
All right, Stevie B is asking, why are courtroom sketch artists so bad? Because they are working so fast. Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met one courtroom sketch artist, and he was horrible.
Perhaps they are as good as they need to be.
Yeah, okay, I didn't want to say it, but Jason, you said it so beautifully in a polite way.
Pretty much,
You put it.
It's not meant to be hung in a museum or stared at for a long time.
They're just doing it for the money, so just good enough.
Do they still?
Most of them really, it's not their favorite thing to do. A lot of
them. It's terrible.
At least used to be.
Really bad.
Is that okay? But is that still even a job?
I think so.
I mean, it is still sometimes because a lot of Trump's had courtroom drawings because they banned the media from his trials.
And sometimes you just can't have the cameras in there, and that's why it started.
Yeah. All right, that's.
I think it would be fun, but only if I could, not be on the violent cases where I hear terrible things. I want to be on the fun cases. I don't know. Maybe a sketch artist for like a Judge Judy type show. I don't know.
Small claims court.
Yeah, small claims court sketch artist.
This lady messed up my weave, and now she won't pay me back.
Yeah. I want to draw that. I want to draw like.
Got a picture of an angry woman with half a weave in her head. Like that would be fun. I wanted to be a courtroom sketch artist when I was a kid. Like I knew somebody was getting paid for that because I saw it on the news every night. And so I thought, oh, I'll do that. That's more fun than drawing wedding dresses, which was the only other job I knew you could get paid to draw it, because I saw that on TV until Scooby-Doo told me that I could be a comic book artist and get paid money to draw superheroes, and then I was done for. It was all over.
Wow. Can you imagine if you had taken the wedding dress?
Oh God, I hate it. I tried as a kid. I tried drawing fashion. I hated it. I am not a fashionista now. I am a cargo shorts kind of guy, and that would have been such a miserable fit. I would do better as an accountant than as a.
But think about it. Like, you be master at the folds, the clothing. You know, they're really hard. Yeah.
I like drawing folds and clothing and stuff, but I'm not going to draw anything new, fun thing that people are going to want to wear.
Kyla is saying, Jason for sketch artist on the show Night Court.
There you go.
Yeah, something fun. I don't want to hear terrible things.
Yeah, you have to draw this murderer. You know, speaking of that, I was housed like almost like a family friend now in Maui. I just came back, and I think his former job was investigative journalism. And he was talking about he's from originally Colorado, Denver, and his instructor that taught him journaling happened to be at Ted Bundy's court, the last one. And she happened to also capture the photo, and he was talking about how people put on like masks. You just don't know how they look so put together, calm, or just, and especially Ted Bundy. I heard from him that he's a very good-looking guy, so he's very charming and attractive. But there's one last scene where the judge was giving him the ruling, and there was a 1 second shot where all of that mask came off, and somehow she took a picture of that and captured that moment, and then she had it on the screen saying, this is how he is normally, and then shows a picture, and this is the mask off. And he said it was bone chilling. It's terrible. It's just completely a different person. And yeah. So if we were in situations like that, as sensitive as we are, I think we would have trauma.
Yeah, it would be difficult.
Yeah.
I want to draw terrible things, but I don't want to look at or hear about real terrible things.
That's the thing. I like looking at reference for things, and then I'm like, I'm not looking at reference for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working on the next issue of my book Green Zone, and it's following mutant cops. And at the last issue, their police station got blown up, and Virgil got like all the skin burned off his back, this giant lizard dude. And now I didn't think about it when I did that to him, that now I have to draw a whole bunch of panels of him from all these different angles with the skin burned off his back. And for a minute, I was like, I should look up reference photos. And I was like, no, I am not doing that to myself. I'm going to rely on my anatomy knowledge and use that.
And like, you don't know what a burn victim looks like, but the reader also doesn't. So,
well, most of them anyway.
Yeah,
most of them. Yeah. And like, it's you don't need to. And then if you do end up looking at that type of thing, it's not readable as a story illustration. It's usually just kind of a gross mess. And in comics especially, you need to have people know what they're looking at.
And it has to be able to read quickly too, which is the other thing.
Yeah. So it's not very useful in my opinion.
Yeah, I think as long as just reiterating what you said, Jason, as long as we just kind of depict the gist of it and they can understand it, you did great. Just keep going.
And nobody knows what an 8-foot lizard man looks like with you know, full thickness 3rd-degree burns. So I have a little bit of leeway there.
Well, there's always a lot of leeway, because what a lot of artists will do is they always fall back, hey, creative freedom. I decided to go that way and just take the creative freedom route on it. My interpretation.
It always drove me nuts. It's a personal peeve of mine when people say, well, it's just my artistic interpretation when they couldn't do what they were trying to do. Like one of my art
That's
teachers.
what it was.
It usually is, and that's why that's why it's a sore subject for me. But like my art teacher in college had tried sculpting this human heart to make this dramatic piece, and it ended up looking more like an alien turkey. And she kept claiming that was her artistic license she was getting creative with, and I was like, no, you didn't accomplish what you tried to do. Like you were going for something and you couldn't get it. Like if I was trying to draw a portrait of Mog and it came out looking like Mel, I can't just say, oh, that's my artistic license. I failed at my job. Like I'm not going to get paid for that portrait. And unless Mel pays just because he gets a giggle out of it. Like no one's going to be happy
buy that
with
portrait.
If this came out looking like Splinter instead of Bebop, like I wouldn't be very good at my job. And that I'm a little sensitive about that. I will admit. I'm trying to work on that.
Oh boy, that would be funny though. You're drawing Mog and it comes out looking like me.
Oh, you meant you in the chair, not the guy standing behind you. Oh, my bad. It'll still be $50.
That would want to buy that.
I agree with you. I agree with you about the artistic license. I 100% fish, but there have been exceptions where there's a good reason behind, for compositional reasons or whatever. Then I have accepted without any qualms. So, but that is on the like you have to be Jason's level of master level, and then when Jason tells me he did this because of blah blah artistic license, I totally legit believe, like, oh yeah,
like if you can you can paint anything you want to paint, you can make it look like that thing that you wanted it to look like. So if you got the creative urge to do an impressionistic painting with splattering paint on the wall or dripping it from a can and swinging it around the room, if you're going for a particular look, okay, I support you 100%.
Yeah.
I would appreciate yours a little more than, say, my kid doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I would not be like, oh, what a talented artist you are when he can't draw a stick figure. Like some people, if you can do it and you choose to do XYZ for whatever your reasons are, sure, absolutely, totally valid.
Yeah.
If you can't do it and you're calling your failure an artistic expression, I beg to differ, but
yeah.
But I can also let bygones be bygones. I don't have to argue with you about it either.
Yeah, there you go.
I agree. But Jason, when I saw your God, I forgot the title already. The medieval story.
Returned.
Return. It looked like a European comic format. It was just how they do very painterly. Has a painterly feel. It was so like you can immediately right off the bat when I saw it, this person is dedicated, is actually serious about their own work, and it's masterful at it. And
thank you.
And especially, I think there was a scene where you just kind of was like flipping through, like there was a scene of a maple leaf kind of like taking almost half a page just by itself, falling. Even that is poetic. It's very poetic. That means you know what you're doing. It's like compositionally design. I love that. I love when like you can put a lot of details and crammed, but also you leave a lot of negative space because you're putting so much thought in designing every panel, every page, and that's a lot of brain work.
Yes, thank you. Glad you
can
see that. Can see the work that I'm putting into it. Very little.
I see you, Jason. I see you.
She's got an eye for picking out the stuff that really means a lot to you. She's good at that.
Oh, Fish, you're good at it too. What the heck?
Oh yeah, but like when you pointed out, like, you know, how much you enjoyed like the movement and stuff, motion that I put in things, that meant
Yeah.
a lot to me because I work really hard on that and I take it seriously.
Oh,
And most people don't comment on that part. You were probably the first person ever did, and so I remember that.
thank you. Wow. I don't know what to say now.
And well,
On that note,
JD just put up a brand new show tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Order up, the final order cutoff show. Don't miss it. It's a great show that you're all going to want to get in on and to get in the know, so that way you know what to order before you get left in the dark, right? So it's going to be a very informative show. And on that note, we are going to take a break, and we will be right back after this short commercial break.
What do you call the place on Spider-Man's wrists where the webs come out? His website. I hate myself for writing that joke, but you'd make me feel so much better if you just visited our website. We have links to our merch, new release lists, all the show info, and so much more. TheEXPLive.com.
Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today. Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann and Ricky and sometimes Carlos, and featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics, unique collectibles, lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Hey, don't forget to hit that follow button. Make sure you give us a follow there so that we can get caught up on all the shows that we have here on The Experience. And don't forget to, if you want to get in the freebies tonight, # EXP returned, and we got 3 great giveaways that's going to be being put up from Jason, including a return Ascan with some great art in there that you won't want to miss out on. Okay, so CDG is asking, Mel, were you a fan of the amazing Kreskin? Passed away at 89 the other day, and I had enjoyed his show and Carson appearances back in the day. Wow. Okay, so that's the first time I'm hearing that, and yeah, if you
I didn't know.
I didn't. I wonder if that just happened because I do get a lot of feed on my Facebook page, and that's not something that I was aware of. So thanks for letting me know about that. Definitely want to hear more about it later. All right, so let's take a quick look around the room to see where everybody is with their artwork. Starting with, right there, Mr. Fish.
Oh,
wow.
Well, let me turn it around then.
Oh,
there we go.
There's that horny guy.
Now he's a little easier to see.
There you go. Look at them eyes. That's
Gosh,
just
I love
pure
it.
evil.
I love the glasses, but I had to get him looking up over him at you. Like
Yeah.
that just.
So good.
Yeah.
I love the glasses, but they're so ineffectual. I've worn them.
Yeah, I imagine that he's doing the same thing a lot.
Yeah.
Too. And like you even gave a little bit more room on the glasses than I usually see. It's like looking through a slit or something.
Yeah, there's several different versions, but some of them that have gone bigger and more warthoggy have taken the glasses wider to make
Yeah.
up for the room of his nose, and so I applied that because that just makes realistic sense to me. Because mutant warthogs, you want to stay as realistic as you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta
don't want to get too
fanciful.
fanciful.
You have to. You gotta look up. You gotta look that stuff up.
Huh.
And let's see. Let's take a look at. Let's look at Jason. Okay, he's starting the black thing in there, getting that in there. Got one turtle in.
Do both of you guys like drawing a lot of creatures?
Yes.
Yeah, I like definitely drawing creatures. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love drawing people, but aliens and stuff are my favorite.
Mm-hmm. And I will say some of this is inspired by it's harder to do a turtle wrong than it is a person. No one's going to say, hey, that doesn't look like a turtle.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. I can draw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pretty easy. If you're like, hey, I got to draw a portrait, that's going to be rough.
There's so many little ways that can go wrong.
Oh, I hate portraits. Man. I don't understand why I occasionally get requests to do portraits. It's really interesting, but yeah.
Anymore, I'm pretty prone to turn them down because I've got so much other stuff to do that I'd rather do something that's a little more fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Quicker and easier in my wheelhouse, and there's certain things I will always turn down now. Like I will not do portraits of people's kids because you can never make it look as good as a mother imagines her baby looks. And I will not do pictures of anyone or thing that is passed.
I can say something about the kids, but I think I'll keep it to myself.
For me, it's I will never do portraits of husbands asking to do wives. But if the wife asks me to do a portrait of themselves, it's totally fine.
If the husband asks, they will never be happy.
No, they're like, that's not my wife, because everybody has a different, what called rose-colored glasses or something.
Oh yeah, and we absolutely see our wives that way. Like, and he will give you a picture where he thinks she looks the most beautiful, and all she sees is her double chin, and her edges are showing, and her,
absolutely.
He doesn't see any of that. If a woman comes to me and says, I want a caricature or a portrait done of me, 9 times out of 10, she'll be happy.
Yeah, be happy.
Everybody walks away happy. If a husband's like, oh, I want to get this for my wife as a surprise, I'm like, no, you don't. Nope. That's another one of my rules. Kids, dead people, and wives. I don't want to do.
Children, forget it.
It's mainly you just don't do portraits at all. It's on a case by case that Mog will take them, and it's very, very, very few. And just to let you guys know, the turtles are ahead. Kyle just placed a bid on both of them, 75 on Jason, 75 on Fish, just because he's a big turtle fan. He has to have these now.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Kyle.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
So actually, Jason, I have a question, because I love I love fantasy, and usually classic fantasy is kind of medieval fantasy, like the style and the whole aesthetics.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, why did you choose specifically medieval? Do you love that aesthetics yourself?
Yeah, so I do like the aesthetic. It was inspired by a lot of fantasy type literature. It could be Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
classic
Rings. Yeah.
ones.
So yeah, what I'm aiming for is kind of a horror fantasy book, and it somewhat the story is sort of built as humanity is sort of we're past caveman times. We're into more feudalism. We're moving into feudalism, and that gathering of people in like metropolitan areas, so like a castle behind some walls.
It's like the Bronze Age is just getting started.
Yeah, so that aspect of civilization ties into the story. So there are reasons behind why there's everyone's turning into zombies, and you'll find it out, and they'll figure it out. So it's a little different from a lot of zombie stuff where we just have a pile of zombies and we're not going to talk about it, about what's going on.
Yeah.
But once we get past the now she's a ghost kind of in charge of her zombie body. She's got to go with her family and escape and try to help them survive. And then we move into a lot of metaphysical stuff. We get a little bonkers and go extra fantasy. So meeting some gods.
Do you have like hardcore rules about how the zombies and stuff work, or are they magical? Like,
I would say that they're magical, but I do have some decent rules, I guess, and that there is there is a ghost, there's a spirit that is attached to each of these zombies. Basically, they're less zombies in that their spirits, their souls are kind of being kicked out of their bodies, but still attached, so that perhaps someone else can use them for another reason.
It's like necromancy.
So some of the idea behind it is that they have these spirits that are attached to the bodies, and then can also be attached to the parts of the bodies and stuff like that. So I have some rules around that. I do have some rules. There's no walking skeletons, and that they have to be somewhat recently dead to be able to still move and have muscle attached to them to be able to still move. And this is not like saying no one else can do that, but for my purposes, they needed to have those type of.
Okay. Now this leads to my real question on the subject that I was literally just talking about today with my son.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody dies in your world. They're a zombie. How long can that zombie continue to walk the earth before it disintegrates?
Well, it depends on the environment, certainly. But in my world, they're living in kind of a mid-European area, so they've got probably 3-4 weeks.
Okay. All right. That's like you've sold me 100%. Put me down. I'm on there first day. I'm getting it.
Is it winter time or is it autumn time? Because doesn't it also
it's autumn. It's moving into autumn.
Yeah, because of the maple leaves I saw. So
yeah,
I'm guessing summertime they disintegrate faster.
They would disintegrate faster. In winter time, they probably couldn't move because they'd be frozen. So we're kind of moving into that area, but we don't. The whole scheme doesn't need zombies to be around forever. Just for the purposes.
Great way to rotate your zombies.
You got to rotate your zombies. You really have to. The ones in the back are going to spoil if you don't.
Yeah, it's like you watch Walking Dead. They actually describe their zombies. Oh, the guy that had his stomachs all hanging out. Or the guy that had his head all tilted and his leg was all twisted. They have names for their zombies.
Yeah.
So do you actually, both of you guys, I wonder, do you guys like drawing armor? Because villains have a lot of armor, so that's why I'm asking the question. And also medieval, right? So you guys enjoy that?
Medieval. I am going the fantasy route in that I myself have never worn real armor. and I don't really have a good perspective on how it actually works, but it's close enough armor. It's fantasy armor.
Yeah.
And it's nothing too ornate. It's kind of most people have sort of
Lord forbid
gathered things together.
Like really ornate, and you constantly got to draw that, especially if that's one of your main characters.
Oh, that's my thing. Like, I used to love drawing really complicated, ornate, detailed stuff.
Yeah.
But that was one drawing at a time. You know, drawing one cyborg arm, I like to draw all the little details of how it works and the pistons and stuff. Drawing a cyborg a million times in a book, no sir, no thank you. I'm not drawing it that way.
No.
And
Look,
so
look at the guys that have to draw Spider-Man and that Spider-Man costume, you know.
They can do the webbing all the time and all that.
That's one of the main reasons I've never wanted to work at Marvel. Like, everybody dreams of drawing Spider-Man, and all I can think is, nah, that webbing, man. No, thank you. I'd rather work on 101 Dalmatians drawing a million dogs over and over with a million different spot patterns than have to try and do that.
If I was assigned to Spider-Man, I'd try to figure out a way how to get just print out a sheet where I could just like iron on that webbing on his costume or whatever.
Oh man,
you didn't have to draw it all the time.
Don't think I wouldn't come up with a brush or something that threw that down.
Yeah.
For me, because
digital, just create a brush that does that.
No,
that would be cool.
So specific.
And with my OCD, it would always bug me if, like, well, no, on that arm and that panel, he had 4 sideways lines on the webs, and in this one he only has 3. I could not do it. It would drive me up the wall.
It was great when McFarlane reinvented the webbing.
Mm-hmm.
But he just made it more complicated
for
everybody to try and copy. It's great though.
Yeah. But sometimes that extra work, the crazy extra work, is what sets you apart.
Oh yeah, like I get lost in the details when I'm doing 3D perspectives on stuff. I will get so lost in the weeds sometimes that I forget that, like, the more time I spend on this page, the less money I'm making per hour on this page.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it really needs ornate, picture frame on the wall on the bookcase table that's in 3-point perspective, and the parents in that picture need to look like their genetics blended together to make the main character, and then it gets a word balloon stuck over it, and it didn't matter anyway.
That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's why they say you got to know where your word balloons are going to go, so you don't draw anything there.
Nothing important anyway.
Yeah, nothing important. No.
I'm doing all my own lettering. And all of the layout stuff, I lettered the layouts rather than wait. So like all my layout stuff is already lettered, because then I could figure out those problems beforehand.
This is the way. That is absolutely the way.
Yeah.
This is the way if you are doing everything yourself.
I do too. And I letter the page first. And then that helps me split up how many panels I want to have, and then I pencil it and move stuff around, and it's real easy to change my quick pencil scribbles. That look like your layouts, and do that quickly to make everything fit the panel well and look good in the end, and rather than trying to change fully inked pages or colored pages. No.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
I'm going to do a little bit of rant here. I really wish any freaking comic script writer out there, please write your freaking dialogue. If you do 4 panels, try writing it all in.
Yes.
See where it, and then think about it after that, and think about, you write this much dialogue for 1 panel, and in that 1 panel, you have 5 different things going on. Think about it, okay? Very simple. Please write your letters first. Write your script first, because it drives me up the wall. And it's so funny that both of you guys do this. Both of you guys like, okay, the most important thing is actually the writing. So you're like writing it, and the writing, you just kind of roughly know where it is.
If there's
and
not a
everything
story
goes
to
wrong.
read, the pictures don't really matter that much.
Exactly.
Correct.
So, my biggest pet peeve is like, oh my God, it's the most basic, but yet no one seems to be doing it.
I've been trying to tell writers to be letterers for forever. Like,
That's a
you
good
can
one.
learn lettering.
Yeah, it's a much easier. It's a skill you got to learn.
Yeah.
But it's a much easier skill to learn than, say, inking or
And then you're gonna have
coloring
so much more control over the comic, the way it looks and the way it's written.
Yeah.
And you would learn so much more about like beats and things and how much you can fit on a page and all that.
Right.
I would
A lot of
love
people
one
don't.
day.
They don't know that they think that they're writing it for like a novel
movie or something.
a movie, and it doesn't work out that way.
Nope, sure don't.
But
I would love. This is never going to happen, but I would love one day if I get a script, and it's all in what do you call this? Those binder paper, those ruler papers, and somebody drew a scribble, like a 4-panel division, and then write the dialogue on it in each panel where it's going to be. That's, for me, it's a script. That's a visual script. But if you give me this elaborate typecasted, like page 1 with a header and footnotes and all of this like wording, I don't know, man. Why are you writing scripts? Like, be a writer or something.
Yeah,
I'm being super harsh right now, but yeah.
I get a lot of scripts from, like, I don't want to say failed writers, but like they wanted to go the novel route, and now they've decided to do comics as like some kind of backup.
Yeah.
Like, well, since I can't get the movie made or whatever, nobody wants to publish the novel, then I'll just publish a comic instead. And I'm like, it's its own thing. It's not a secondary fallback, second prize. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And it needs to be written for that way. And B, you are not about to hand me a novel and expect me to turn that into a comic. I'm not doing it. Like, either you turn it into a script or you pay me to do it, but I am not doing that for free.
All we do is just tell them, oh, yeah, we don't want to do the project. No reason given, just don't want to do it.
So that's what you guys do, huh? You guys don't even write a script, right? Like page 1, page 2. You just have it on a piece of paper, and then just write a dialogue, right? Okay, that's going to page 1, then you just go to the next page. Is that how you guys do it?
I write a script. I outline it.
Oh, really?
I did write a script as well. I think I might try that visual scripting for my next one. But being like the first book that I wrote, the big book that I wrote at least, I wanted to nail down the script idea first, because as Fish said, if there's no story, it doesn't matter how pretty the pictures are.
Exactly.
So I did write a full script. I might try the visual scripting thing for a short book after this. But yeah, this was a book that I used to learn how to write in some ways. So this was, I wanted to go the most basic route that I felt at the time.
Yeah, I care too much about the beats and like the flow and making it interesting and the reveals and things. I can't just haphazardly do that.
I don't think I would ever go haphazard.
I'm in the same boat as you, Fish. I need to know, like it's important to me, like when you release information, how you release it, how you turn the page, the timing, the tempo, all these things that people don't really put too much thought in as part of like telling the story. It's not just telling the events. There's more to it than that. And going from one event to another, it's going to get kind of stale if you don't know these other things on how to control the story. That will help you tell that story better.
Yeah, I think I would always be using that beat sheet to give the structure to the
Yeah.
story at the very least.
What do you mean beat sheet? What are you guys talking about? Like an actual
So,
script?
well, a beat
No.
sheet is kind of you start with an idea, and the beat sheet then helps you break it out into like what happens roughly when. So
Okay.
the thing that the book that I used or used a bunch in this starting to write was the Save the Cat books.
Yeah.
So it's a script writing for film book, but it sort of breaks down sort of a basic story, and they go through all the examples of Hollywood movies that follow this, and they're all like goofy, and it got me where it needed to get me. It can be a little hacky, but it gets you somewhere. But the beat sheet is sort of like step 2 or 3 past like, oh, I have an idea for a book, and here's a character, and like what could happen when. And there's calculators out there. So if you say you want to write a 120-page book, it will give you by page 2 this happens, by page 10 this happens, and it's like basic stuff, basic hero's journey type stuff sometimes. But like complications or B plots, it sort of gives you a rough roadmap to get somewhere.
Right. Jason, Stevie B is asking, what are the payment options on your website store? I put a couple sketches in the bag and only seeing a check option. That's not a problem if that's the case.
There shouldn't be, but I will check that out.
Okay. And then Stevie V writes, "Hey artists, let's not paint all comic writers with the same brush, huh?" Okay. And you're right. We're not implying that with straight across the board, Steve. It's just a few. Of course, we can't include some of the really professional writers out there. There are many good examples to follow. They're just talking about some of the things that may have been missed, or like how Jason's talking about the beats and how he uses that, which is good information.
Yeah. When I have the time, I actually look at there's a show called Manben. It's on YouTube. I think it still is. But Manben is like during COVID, this guy it's their graphic novel art, so their manga artist going around Japan visiting legendary manga artists that's been doing it for years, and then they kind of ask what's your method, blah blah blah. And most of the time, when I see the beginning script and everything, there's no actual script. It's kind of like what you said. Maybe they have a beat sheet, like they have the rough idea, but everything is just drawn on. The dialogue is written kind of like a panel, just like a panel scratchy, and then dialogue, and that's it. They don't have the time to write this perfect because they're the one who's drawing it anyway. So as long as like an outline for them and they know exactly where the dialogues are going, then everything forms around it. The whole basis of the entire story always starts with the lettering, and then they just get on. Sometimes they don't even have this paper. They just draw it on the big 11 by 17, and they just do the rough right there because they just don't have the time. So they just like write the dialogues, and then quickly get the editor to approve the storyline or the dialogue line, and then they just start right there. So
yeah, that's why mine is mostly an outline, because I'm doing it all myself. So like I don't need a whole lot of direction or a whole lot of stuff written down.
Okay.
But I like to have most of the dialogue figured out, so I can like spell check it and everything and get the editor to look, see if anything doesn't read right. And like I like to have that part figured out because, like I said, I do the lettering first. So that works out from my process. But then I know other people that like to go old school Marvel method, and they like to like see the artwork before they finalize what people are going to say. And it worked out for everybody. It depends on what you like.
I don't know. Personally, I think it's a waste of time that you just draw the entire artwork when you can know exactly where the lettering is, so you don't have to draw all the way inside the lettering. You can just draw around it. But oh well.
I still draw behind it. I just don't draw super detailed behind it. Like I'm not going to stick a frame with the family in it behind the lettering if I know it's going to go there. but like also I work digitally, so I will draw like for instance, in one of my books that I did for a client, they were in front of a bank, and I knew that most of the bank was going to get covered up with explosions and flying cars and giant monsters. But I went ahead and drew the whole front of the bank anyway in
Yeah.
great detail. And then I covered most of it up with other stuff and masked it off. But I have been able to reuse the front of that bank in like 3 different books for the same guy that took place in the same downtown part. And I've been
Okay.
able to use them in a couple of different books by like flipping them and changing it into a hotel instead of a bank or
Yeah.
something. And that one asset I've been able to reuse several times. So it saved me time to spend the time, but that only works because I work digitally.
Yeah, and yeah, you can't. Yeah, can you imagine having to do that in the old ways before we were digital?
Nope.
No.
I mean, I could see making one good reference and then light boxing it, but I would still have to.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and then you draw the whole thing in one frame, one time, and then after that, it might be in other frames, but you're not showing the whole thing. It's just going to be parts of it. You know.
So anyway, Jason, I'll be really interested. Like the next book, number 2, that would be. You said you're thinking maybe you just go straight into visual script, just kind of like.
Yeah, this would be the theoretical book that is taking place after all of Returned is done. So all the Return script is written and ready to go. This would be like a second book from me that would be unrelated. That's my dream career, is just making different books all the time. So it wouldn't be continuing the Return story. It would be something new.
I forgot to ask, or maybe I didn't catch this. Is this for all ages regardless, or it's still going to be like for only mature?
This one I would put at mid-teens. 15,
Mid-teens?
16. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not horrifically gross.
Okay.
There you go.
Just the right amount of gross.
Just the right amount.
And the right amount of like romance and skin, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a tad. All right, let's go around the room and take a look at where everybody is at. Let's look at Mog's here, the back girl, still looking for a bit of an opening bid of 100. She's got that.
I do have to show. I recently finished this this work of Dr. Doom. 18 by 24 painting.
Nice.
Oh.
Maybe I can show it through. Ouch. It's pretty big, but.
That piece, okay. And now that you brought that up, that'll give me the segue into this. But that piece is already sold. Okay, now, but however, Mog had another rough that she was doing on a Dr. Doom, and she's going to finish that up. And on December 26th, we're going to have a special show. Fish will be there, along with Trish Forstner, Bill Mouse, and his daughter Cat Mouse will be there too. John Fishman, Jen Leonard, a lot of our regular artists. We are going to have a massive original artwork that's going to be available that day. So don't forget to watch us December 26th on that. More information will be coming in. You'll see pieces like this, Dr. Doom, and she's also going to have another 18 by 24 piece of Psylocke. Okay, and the bids are going to be low. They're going to, for that size, I believe we're gonna start out low. I'm not sure exactly yet what that's going to be, but join us and you'll see where that's going to go. Okay, along with everybody else. All right, so as I said, we're still looking for a bid of $100 on the back row, and that's fine if it doesn't sell, because that just gives us more stuff to bring elsewhere. Let's take a look at Jason, who's working on the Turtles sketch cover. Ooh.
Wow.
Look at that. Got a lot of it done already.
Oh, that's looking good.
And it's still got about we still got about half an hour to go after we go to commercial break here.
I love the beaks on them. I love that.
Look at that. Okay. 75 is the bid on there, and we do accept bids in increments of 5. So if you want to, we are looking for the next bid of 80. Go ahead and place that in the comments if that's something you'd like to take home for Christmas. Right, and if you are a turtle fan, take a look at Mr. Fish.
Wow.
Also at 75, looking for the next bid of 80.
All
This
of the
guy is
crispy
in
little
your
details.
face.
Wow.
He's ready to come at
Cash
you.
shadows. So crisp.
Look at that.
I really enjoy getting to do this show just because I don't get to do that much traditional art outside of cons. And I do miss it, man. I got to start
There
doing
you go.
more.
Right?
There you go.
So
That's what it's
good.
going to be about. And we try to bring it back here. December 26th.
That means you're legit because
Stevie
you
B writes, is the December 26th show cash only, or will you take trade for the socks and under I get?
Depends on what size.
Yeah.
Message me privately. We'll
And
see
they
what we
better be new.
And like a wheel of cheese, like Parmesan type, sure, we'll take food.
Oh man, yeah.
Like
I didn't
a
even think
Lego
about that.
pan. Yes.
It's all negotiable. These guys take anything. Anyway, on that note, we will take this last commercial break, and then we'll come back. We'll do the giveaways, take a final look at this, and talk about more with Mr. Jason Strutz.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Something is speaking to you. Buy more comics. Just at the edge of your perception. Buy more comics. Your senses fill with visions of vortices. 360 comics. Slowly drawing you to one thundering epiphany.
360 comics!
360 comics! The universe is telling you to shop with 360 Comics. Joe's got amazing stock from high dollar to $5 books from Silver Age to modern, CGC, variant covers, and more. 360 Comics every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, part of the experience.
Welcome back. Thanks to you again for watching Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. Don't forget to hit that follow button. Help us increase our followers. And don't forget to watch that special show that we're going to have with our producer, Kyle, on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern at Eastern time. Okay. And that's going to be to help out the Monarch comic book store that's some going through some tough times right now. And it looks like we momentarily lost Mr. Strutz, and here he is back again in a flash. And if you haven't yet put in #EXP return, that will get you into the running for the free giveaways that we have going on tonight. And we have 3 of them. We're going to thank Jason for that. Okay.
So we've got the returned ash can.
Okay.
I got a set of my Inktober cards. So this is all the Inktober Drawloween stuff from 2016. Set of 31 cards.
Wow.
That.
That's a good way to use that.
My first, not my first. This is a graphic novel that I made before before starting Return. This was back maybe 2014, 2015.
Wow.
So the House of Montresor, it's adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's Cask of Amontillado, and then continues that story. And
there you go. Look at that.
So this is about
All
120
right, so
some pages.
We got some great giveaways tonight, so
But yeah.
go ahead and put that in. # EXP return. That will get you in the running. We'll probably be doing that in the next few minutes. We are still looking for an opening bid on Mog's Batgirl, and Fish and Jason already have 75 on theirs.
How did the ending go? I forgot. Like, doesn't it get either somebody gets bricked, walled up, or
Yeah, they get walled up, and the guy who does it gets away with it, as far as we know. But
It's
we
haunted,
also
right?
like you never know what happened, like why everybody's so mad at each other.
Oh.
So then we took that and sort of expanded upon it. This was written by a woman named Enrica Jang, who runs Red Stylo Media.
Okay.
And she does writing and publishing. And we did this book, and then a few years later, she became the director of the Poe House and Museum in Baltimore.
Oh my gosh.
She knows what she's doing.
Wow.
I would certainly hope so. Or won't they be embarrassed?
It would be rough. But yeah, so now I do a bunch of work for the Poe House and Museum in Baltimore. So that's fun.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. Now, is that where you met Kyle?
So yes, that is how probably at least one of the places I've met Kyle. In terms of Comic-Cons or who knows where, but yeah, definitely a place that I got to work with Kyle, and that was very cool and exciting. So he started working with them in 2020 and has continued being involved and putting on a lot of the events for the Poe Festival, which happens beginning of October, first weekend of October each year.
Interesting.
So we just did that not too long ago.
Did not know that about Kyle. So
Me
that
too.
is
I didn't know about
interesting.
that.
Kyle does all sorts of things. Hopefully, I'm not letting a lot of
multi-fest
out of the bag, Kyle.
Dude, Fish, you sound like those guys who smoke too much, so they have to use a fake audio. I'm not joking. Even now. So
yeah.
Do you want to maybe try to restart your browser and log in?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay, while he's doing that, let's go ahead and start the giveaways, JD. So let's start with that ash can first. Let's see who gets that. Short circuit. Stevie B, you lucky
It's okay.
dog, you.
You deserve it, Stevie.
Good. Limited edition number 18 of 50.
Oh my God.
Let's do the October cards.
Yeah.
Next. Steven Netta.
Congratulations.
Excellent.
Ooh, okay.
Steve.
That's a pretty good idea on what to do with those October cards that you do.
Yeah, it works out really well. I can sell them as a set on my table, or I also open them up and I can let people page through them and buy them for $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
All works
What
out.
do you sell the whole set for?
Whole set about 20.
Very reasonable.
Yeah, yeah.
And are those are they 5x7, 3x5?
These are 5x7s. What is this? 6. 4x6. 4x6.
4x6. Okay, there you go. Very interesting. Okay, and then last we have the your first or one of your first books there, right?
Yeah.
The House of Montessori.
Montresor.
Okay. And that is going to go to.
Uh-huh.
You got something.
You get something.
Short Circuit won something.
Hooray!
Congratulations.
That's you, Mog.
Hey, be quiet.
Here we go. Here, the real winner is. Here we go.
The real winner. Robbie Roach.
Robbie Roach.
Okay, Robbie, you win.
She'll let you have it this time.
Don't forget to fill in the magic form, which JD will be posting up there shortly. That's how we know where to send all this stuff to. Okay, we'll gather that information, pass that off to Jason so we can get this stuff out to you.
Yes.
I think this algorithm is kind of rigged because so many Steves win all the time.
I think it's just because like 50% of the people that are here, their names are Steve.
Ah, okay.
That'll skew the numbers for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. All right.
Same reason you don't have a lot of guys named Fish win. Just a lot fewer of us.
Try to be
I wish I chose it. I got saddled with it.
Pretty fishy.
So Stevie B's House of Collectibles, you had asked earlier about the payment situation.
Yeah.
So I just had to crawl through my PayPal and Equid stuff. It should be connected again. It was my storefront back end was yelling at me, and it should be better now.
Ah, okay.
We can all cross our fingers. I've done as much as I can do on a live stream.
What shows do you normally do, Jason? What cons do you normally do?
So conventions. I used to live in North Carolina, so I used to do the NC Comic Con a lot.
Okay.
So that is it was run by a shop called Ultimate Comics in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, North Carolina area.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for the shop and in the shop doing design and graphic design stuff and selling things in the store. And worked on the beginning of setting up BetCon. So I do that a bunch. I should be back there next year. Wasn't able to do it this year. So I do that one. I like Heroes. I've done that before. It's just the travel from where I am now. I'm in Michigan now. Travel is tougher. So we've got the Grand Rapids Comic Con here that I'll probably be back at next year. And beyond that, I do a lot of like local marketplace type things. So I go hang out at my farmer's market 6 blocks away and for their art Sundays. So I go there and sell stuff. That the travel part is what kills me about the Comic Cons. You know, paying for the travel.
That is part of the equation that we have to like figure out all the time.
Yeah.
And those prices are going up too, along with lodging and all that. So that's one reason why I don't want to travel as much as to many of the cons in next year. And and plus I'm just getting old. That's just the bottom line. Is that I'm getting old to be doing it, man.
It's tough. I mean, I used to save costs by sleeping on floors.
Oh yeah.
You know, could be 5 of us in a room, and I'm laying in the corner, wrapped in some whatever I have.
Sometimes we'll get like a group going, and we'll share accommodations that way, like 6-7 people or so.
Yeah,
I wish I had a better group of friends that went to more cons, because I would love to like split some of the Airbnbs we stay at.
Oh yeah,
they're so roomy and so nice that you could split with a couple other groups and be fine.
If you want to do that, Fish, you just like let us know. You know, like for the Chicago cons. Well, not the Chicago cons, but for like some of the other cons that we might do. I mean, because we're always looking for like other people that we can split the cost with, and we're a little picky with who we go because we want to avoid some of the other things that can happen. But
I get it.
You seem like a cool guy, and So,
oh, I'm pretty easy, especially now I got my CPAP. I don't snore as much as I used to.
Well, let's see. I got a CPAP, and I tried this new quiet thing, and it works kind of works. Not bad for $30.
Okay.
But yeah, it does help. But that is like one of my complaints. Like Bong, who's traveled with us pretty often this year. That's like her biggest complaint is my snoring. But I'll try to like this one time I slept in a closet just so that way she wouldn't hear me. Okay, but the closet was pretty roomy, and I'm sleeping on the floor. It's carpeted, it's pretty clean. So and then there was a lot of pillows, so I was pretty comfortable there. Actually, so we'll do stuff like that. Her and Mog shared the bed. It was perfectly fine. We're okay. But yeah.
Yeah, I think my worst one was a trip to New York Comic Con. That one was just kind of to walk around, but I slept on somebody's floor. But being in New York, the hotel's very small. I could sleep on the floor, but also no one could get out of the room.
Oh yeah.
I'm completely blocking this door.
Oh, that place we stayed in Chicago
die.
for C2E2. I was staying with some friends there. If I slept in the living room floor, I would have taken up the entire living room floor, like the whole thing. It was small.
Yeah, you are really tall.
I am.
So
There's a lot of me to take up room. I got a bed all to myself. I was one of the only people that did.
Yeah. So
Fish, you're on my Facebook friends list, and I think that I met you at SPX like 10, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Have you done SPX before? Am I remembering this correctly?
Not that long ago. Because I mean, I've only been working in comics for 6 years. I'm working on my 107th book in that 6 years.
Yes, I saw that post the other day, and I was.
But yeah, it's
flabbergasted.
107 books.
Yeah, I got questions about this. How long are these books?
Interesting question. I'm happy to answer it. Some of those there's a couple of those are like 8-page short stories and other anthologies.
Okay. Yeah.
2 of them were books that got reprinted. Like one of them I colored and got reprinted. One of them I turned grayscale and got reprinted in a black and white anthology with somebody else. So that helped. One of them recently I just plotted, which was crazy, but it's one of the coolest stories I've ever worked on. And I just helped lay out the plot for it, but it's so good, and it's one of the best books I've ever worked on that I'm counting that book. My God, it gets in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And out of the 107, I think there are 3 of those where I did like a variant cover, but my variant cover brought in like half the money on Kickstarter. So I'm counting that one as having worked on that book. I don't count every cover because that would be ridiculous. But there's a couple that I count in there. But like, I mean, I worked on 21 books this year, and 6 of those were mine. And I put out like 6 mini comics this year.
Yeah,
to go with my stuff.
That's
that post. It was like
nice production level there.
Jason,
Stevie is asking, how much do you charge for one of those ash cans? And do you have any available?
So I've been doing the ash cans at 10. I haven't put them on my website, but I could. Let's look for ash cans.
You need to put one aside, and I'll message you and send you some of my Christmas money because I need one of those.
Me too.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so
my wife is getting that for Christmas.
2 aside.
She'll love it.
All right.
Come on, this is for you. Just admit it.
She has quite the collection of comics. They're all mine.
Yeah.
They're
It's
all books I
entirely
worked
possible.
on. But she's amassing quite the collection since we've met. She knows I will sell everything that I've worked on, and won't keep a copy for myself. So she buys a copy of everything just so there's one on the shelf so we can always look back at it. And I can't sell hers. So
okay, there you go.
She's very smart.
Yeah, I get
She
that.
is very smart. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, so we got 3 more minutes left, guys. So if you want to get your bids in there, go ahead and put that in now. We already have 75 on Jason and Fish, and looking for 100 on Mog still. Not worried there.
This is just random nerd fact. Have you guys ever heard the Korean greeting saying 안녕하세요? It's common. They just say 안녕하세요, like hello, like this.
No.
Okay. Well, you guys are really living in the dark. But anyways.
You're right. I'm in my basement, in fact.
But check it out. The actual kanji I didn't know this, but this is actually based on the kanji. An means at peace. And you know what it is? It's a picture of it's all broken. It's pictograph. Chinese like lettering kanjis are pictographs. So it's the roof of a house. Inside the house is a woman. So that's peace of mind. You're saying, is your woman at home? Do you have a girl at home? And it's also double meaning. If you have a girl that's not at home and she's just gallivanting around.
Oh, there's no peace there.
Your peace of mind is going to be like broken. Like, oh my God, she's cheating on me. So an means like peace of mind. And then also nyong means like another type of peace of mind by having, do you have a roof over your head? And do you have food on the table? So literally when we greet, it means, hey, you have a girl at home, and also
does she feed you well?
Do you have roof over your head and food on the table? Because that's like the basic needs that everybody wants. And
absolutely.
It's kind of peace of mind, right? So that's basically the greeting.
I love that.
I didn't know that. It's kind of interesting because I grew up in Korea and we always say 안녕하세요. That's the first thing they teach when you're a baby. And I never knew that there was a meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So gallivanting? What is the Korean word for gallivanting? Well, let's just say, Steve, it means, let's just draw a empty house with no woman inside. There. Yeah.
If I don't have food on the table, that one's up to me. That's a me problem. I gotta feed the rest of the family.
That is badass.
Well, I want to thank you all you guys for joining us tonight, and thank you, Jason Strutz, for being our special guest tonight. Really enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing more of your work. We're definitely going to have you back. I'll be sending you an email shortly about bringing you back sometime next year as well.
Yeah, that'd be spectacular.
And we'll be watching your project Returned and seeing where you go from there. And don't forget, December 26th, 2 weeks from now, we have a special show where we're going to have a bunch of artists, regular artists that you've seen here through the year, and we're going to have a big art sale for you guys to jump on. So save your Christmas money, and don't spend it too much. Save it for then. And next week, we have who do we have next week? We have Sean Barber. That will be joining us. So make sure to join us for that. That's going to be something that you're going to want to take a good look at. All right. Thanks again. You guys have a wonderful holiday season, and we will see you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.